Hey everybody, how's it going? I went to a gun show yesterday. It was an antique gun and collectible show. So I picked up a few things and thought I'd share them with you guys today. I just put some of the stuff out here that I got. I had a lot of fun. It was good to see a bunch of people. But let's start off with this. This is an Imperial Wildcat Skinner. I didn't pay hardly anything for it, but just look how used this case is. It's just falling apart. The guy that had it, it was his wife selling it, and he must have used this thing, right up, well, for years, obviously. Pretty cool. Anyway, here's the knife. I give it a bit of a wipe down. I didn't really do too much to it. It was really cheap, but I love it. Listen to that. I didn't polish this one. I just cleaned it up. Nice thick handles on it, brass inlays or liners, mid-lock back. Fits really good in the hand. It's a big chunky knife. And for the amount that the guy packed it around and used it, it's still in pretty good shape. You can kind of still see the etching on it, the Wildcat Skinner. It's an Imperial, made in the USA. Inexpensive. I mean, you can still get them in really good shape for low dollar, but fell in love with it, so I picked it up. Just a really cool find, I think. Love it, love it. Especially how much the guy that had it before me must have carried it and used it. So I think I'm going to get a snap, stick it on there, maybe stitch it back up. It's pretty cool. Clean up the sheath a little bit. So the second thing I found was this. Now, don't get too excited. It's in rough shape, but I love it. And it's a case knife. And it's an old one. I cleaned up the bottom a little bit so you could see the font. Now, I couldn't find anything on this knife. There's this font and it usually always has an XX after it. But on this knife, it's just case. So I asked Gunslinger Cal. He was kind enough to look into it. And he says it's old, like 1905 to 1930 max. So I'm pretty stoked to get it. You can see somebody had cleaned it up a little bit. Like there's nothing really deep in there. It's all just surface. Guy could take some real fine sandpaper and mirror that up and everything. But for now, I'm just going to oil it and do a little more research on it. I think you can still get these for, not a whole lot of cash, but something that old. And it's sharp, guys, like really sharp. I'm really stoked to find it. You don't find many case knives up here anymore. You used to when I was a kid, but I know Blades Canada is starting to sell them, so they're easier to get, but pretty stoked to find this. The ones I found, they have brass inlay here, and it's red every once in a while, piece of leather. Now there might very well be some color in there, but it's long tarnished or, gone. But really cool find. Smells old, like a really old house would smell. So it's been floating around for a while. So that's the second thing I got. Third thing I got was this. Now I don't believe this is the original sheath for it, but it could very well be. It's a buck 112. No, it's definitely not the original sheath. This is from 2015. Here, I'll get the dots out. So it's got 112 and then a C with a dot in it. So that's, from what I looked at on the website, it's 2015. But picked it up really cheap and quite happy with it. I didn't have the brass one in 112. I had one of these. I never did have a 112, but I'm sure glad to have one now. It's a nice heavy little knife. Action's really good. Looks to be in good shape. It just doesn't have the right sheath, but for whatever reason, it'll do for now. So that was a cool find. Really cool. And then seen this. This is a genuine leather made in the United States. I love this sheath. Get your Freedom Eagle there. Deadly. But what's inside it is pretty cool too. So somebody took the time to shape this down, to shave it. Here, hang on, I'll get a regular buck to kind of show you the difference here, what the guy did. So he smoothed everything out, give it contour. It's not exactly equal on either side, but he took away the rough edges. You can see he rounded her down a little bit. But the blade is done. The blade is finished. So I got it for like 20 bucks. But you can get a new blade in here. You just send it off and they'll throw a new one in for you. But this is from 1980 to 1981. And there's the dots there. So pretty stoked to find this. I mean, it feels so good. It just hugs the side of your hand. There's no hot spots in it. Like with this one, I mean, it doesn't feel bad. And it feels like every other buck 110. But this is just so much nicer. So I'm thinking I'm going to send it off and get a new blade put in it. Is what I'm thinking. But for $20, why not? Why not? Even if I don't do anything with it, I got a really deadly case for a different buck if I so choose. But that was a good find. And then my favorite find of the day has got to be this case, Hammerhead. It was tarnished pretty good. Well, really good. It was almost green in some spots, but took a little metal polish to it. This one's got the wood composite handles. This one's a little dark. You can't see the grains, but you can on this one, this side, show side. But anyway, let's look at the blade. Oh yeah, there's the Hammerhead. I can't tell you how many times I tried to bid on one of these and on the eBays and lost. And they're hard to get up here. And this one is from 1978. There's the two dots there. So just a really good knife in really good shape. And I was so stoked to get it. The sheath is real nice too. It's got the basket weave on it. But I always wanted to have one of these to put up against one of my buck 110s just to see how they compare. You know, I mean, you see lots of guys do this, but just wanted to for myself. Some say that the Hammerhead is heavier, and it definitely feels heavier. It's not quite as big as the buck 110, but comparable, you know. Two very cool pieces, and stoked to have them both. So yeah, I went to a gun show, antique collectibles. They had knives. They had a lot of garbage stuff there. Like, I shouldn't say garbage. It just, there's no way of knowing what kind of steel those knives are made from, but you guys, I think, know what kind of steel or knives I'm talking about, the handmade Damascus looking stuff. But yeah, I was fortunate enough. I went early and I found this, so snagged it up, got to buy it, put it in my collection. And yeah, I do love my buck 110s. This is like a good example of an original. This one's fairly new. I just picked it up around Christmas time. It's got a nice sheath. Hencho in Mexico. It's still cool. And then I have the one that's been riding around with me for years. This nickel silver one. Beautiful knife. Love this knife. Used it forever. But I broke the tip. So I just kind of, instead of taking a whole bunch of the knife away, I just brought it up and rounded it up. It's usable. But I would like to get another blade. I just I don't really want to lose this one, so I think I'm going to keep this one just the way it is. It won't, if I send it away, it probably won't have the year engraved in the side of it and stuff. So this one is mine since new, having the broken tip. I mean, I did it. I'm fine with it. It can stay in my collection. It's not like I'm ever going to sell it. And this is one I picked up around Christmas time. It's the Alaskan. Gorgeous knife. Absolutely beautiful. Love it. Love it to pieces. Been looking at one of these for a long time too, and I'm glad I finally picked one up. Excuse me. So yeah, just thought I'd show some of my bucks. And then for the fun of it, because it was in the same drawer, here's my old timer Golden Bear. Bear head lockback. Made by Charade. Love this knife too. This was inexpensive. I got this in my local PV Mart. It's like a farm store here up in Canada. They do have some good stuff. And yeah, I picked this up and I used it all summer long. I left my buck at home and I threw this in my bag when I went camping and stuff, and it used just fine. It takes a little bit getting used to because you're not heavy on the back end. It's more central heavy, so it just stays in your hand really well. But it's not a buck, but it's very nice nonetheless. So yeah, very cool. Like my collecting bucks. Then I got, well, you guys seen this one when I had the 512, or 150, what is it? What am I looking for? The 112, yeah. Little tan version. Pocket clip. Anyways, thanks for the ramble. I had a lot of fun. I know it wasn't Blade Show Texas that I wished I could have went to, but I had fun nonetheless. So go to your shows, guys. Show support for the people that are moving their collections on, and maybe you'll find something cool. Anyways, have a good one.